Okay, number one, doing this to focus on polishing up the pick direction, keeping the pick stuff under control. And one thing to remember, if you are hitting 240 with any of this stuff before next week, if you hit it before our next class, send a video over as soon as you got it. Because if you're getting this stuff up in a day or two, you don't have to wait an entire week to get to move on. In fact, if you're hitting it that fast, that means I can give you more complicated stuff and move on faster. So just want to point that out because you are one of the very, very few people, and I mean it, you're one of the very few people who actually gets this stuff up to a quick pace. Most people aren't doing this. So you're definitely more advanced than most people I work with, which is good. All right, 60 for number one. Watching that, picking 1, 2, 3, 4. 120, 1, 2, 3, 4. 180, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 240. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Number two. The down, up, down, up, down picking pattern. 60. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, up, 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 down. 120, 1, 2, 3, 4. 180, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 240, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wrong note, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And number 3. 60, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that with your index finger, so this way you are ready to do the repeats when you get to that point. 120, 1, 2, 3, 4. 180, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 240, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go. Right now, let's talk the chord stuff. And I was just reminded myself I needed to pull up another image I need to share with you. One sec. Where would that be? Alright, I'm in the wrong folder. Hold on. is open with... Okay, alright, we are set now. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the work that you did. So, I'm going to get a pencil here so I can point at things better. That's not helping at all. There we go. Alright, so what you did here was actually work through the circle of fifths. So, because I don't know what you know about circle of fifths, I'm just going to give it basically my description of it and how you use it. So, starting with that C notes, actually let's change this to red so we can see it more easily. So starting with the key of C, you have no sharps and no flats, and that's why we start with the key of C, because we have no sharps and no flats. That's home base, which is also one reason why you and I are currently working in that key. Doing that, working in that key, it just teaches you where your natural notes are for everything. In fact, wait a minute. I did not go over... I'm supposed to go to the next scale thing. Sorry, my mind has just been scatterbrained like crazy lately. Alright, I'm going to go back to this because that's what we started talking about. So yeah, circle of fifths, working in the key of C, no sharps, no flats. So when you go up 5 notes in this key, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, G is note number 5. Well, that's the root note of the next major scale, or next major key, and that is the major scale with 1 sharp. In this case, it was F sharp. The next scale, how do we know what's going to be the scale with 2 sharps? Well, we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes again. That is D, so D is the root note of the next key that contains 2 sharps. So whatever was sharp before will come down to the next key. So F sharp happened in the key of G, so we see the F sharp again here. And the new sharp will always be the 7th note. So if you look down here, all these notes are sharp as they're supposed to be. Because every time you have a new sharp, it's always the 7th note in that scale. So A is the 5th note in the key of D. Key of A major has 3 sharps. So F sharp comes down, C sharp comes down, and the new sharp is G sharp. So that's the circle of fifths. You just, starting with the C, key of C, you go up 5 notes in that key. That is the root note of the scale with 1 sharp. And then you go up 5 notes in that key, key of G. You land on D. D is the root note of the next key, which will contain 2 sharps. So the circle of fifths is an easy way to figure out what keys have what sharps and also what flats. So if you go down 5. I just realized all the last notes here, or the root notes were all cut off. Oh well, not a big deal. Yeah, just remember, like when you go up a half step from this note, that lands you on the C. When you go up a half step from the F sharp, that lands you on a G, and so on. Anyway, so when you go back, hang on, there is still something that needs to be erased. Let's go with that. So when you go back 5, so starting with C, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you go back 5, you land on F. Now, instead of counting backwards, I find it much easier to go up 4. So if we just go up 4 from C, C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4. That gives you the root notes of the scale of the major key with 1 flat. So I look at it this way. Circle of fifths for the sharps, circle of fourths for the fourths. Or sorry, circle of fourths for the flats. So 5's for sharps, 4 is for flats. So go up the circle of fifths to find the sharp keys. Go up the circle of fourths for the flat keys. Now, going down here, we see that your key of F correctly has the 1 flat, B flat. And then your B flat, not only is that the new root note, or not the new root note, sorry. Not only is this 4th note here the new flat, it will also be the root note of the next scale, next key, containing 2 flats. So your sharps, your new sharps are always the 7th note here for the sharp keys. For the flat keys, your new flat will always be the 4th. And for the flats, that's not only is the 4th note in your new flat, that's also the root note of the next scale as you increase flats. So, hopefully that makes sense. Again, this is just a nice way of being able to quickly figure out what comes next and all this stuff. So here, I'm going to send you this image. And this is just a more common way of looking at the circle of fifths. So you see we got the C. We go around clockwise. We increase in sharps. So the key of G has 1 sharp, key of D has 2, key of A has 3, and so on. Going backwards, counterclockwise, we have the circle of fourths. So key of F has 1 flat, key of B has 2 flat, or B flat has 2 flats, key of E flat has 3 flats, and so on. And the letters on the outside of the circle in black, those are the major key root notes. This image has minor key root notes as well. So key of C is also the key of A minor. Key of G is also the key of E minor. Key of D is the same as B minor. So that's why we have 2 different notes laid out in this image. It is showing the relative major and minor of all these keys, all these scales. So down here is quick handy reference for what sharps happen in each key. So looking at the sharps, we see the G, you have the F sharp, D has the F sharp and C sharp, A has F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. You notice when you add in the sharp, it's always a half step below the root note. So the new sharp for the key of A is your G sharp there. So E will be D sharp, B is going to be A sharp, and so on. And then with the flats there, same kind of idea. So just a nice handy image to keep. So what are we going to do with that? So this is the next chord thing to do. Let me change this around. Alright. So looking over here, we have no sharps and no flats at the start of this. That is a key signature, or in this case, an absence of a key signature indicates we are in the key of C, or key of A minor, because we have no sharps and no flats. It's all natural notes being used. That's the focus. Down here, we have a sharp. So, we're basically going to go through that note naming thing that you did, but we're going to apply chords to it. So I want you to use as many open chords as you can. Use bar chords or movable chords when needed. As sharps and flats increase, you will have to use bar chords and movable chord shapes more often. So what am I going to ask you to do here? You have the Roman numerals to indicate what type of chord is being played. Your 1, 4, 5 is always major, 2, 3, 6 is always minor, and the 7th chord is always diminished. So 1, 4, 5 for major, 2, 3, 6 for, let me say that again because I think I might have goofed that up. 1, 4, 5 always major, 2, 3, and 6 always minor, 7th is always diminished. If you don't know all those types of chords, that's okay, just fill in what you can, or we can just wait till next time and talk more about it. But basically, like, if the chord you're supposed to put in is a C chord, use your basic open C major. If it's like an E major chord, you use your basic open E major. like open G major, D major, D minor, A major, A minor, and so on. And then use bar chords like your F major bar chord, B minor bar chord. You can use that major bar chord. You use your diminished shapes if you know them. If you don't, we'll have to go over that. But basically, I just want you to fill in what chord happens in each position here. So again, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. That's how it will always be. You have the root notes for all these scales already because you filled those out properly. It's going through the whole circle of fifths because we increase one sharp at a time. And then we start doing the flat keys, increasing one flat at a time. So if you have any questions, let me know. And if you want, we can start going over the stuff together when we meet up next week. Or just give it a try, see what you can fill out. And to enter a chord name in Guitar Pro, just hit the letter A, and that'll bring up your chord diagram box. So you can input the chord there. But if you do it right, the correct chord name will come up anyway. The only exception to that is there will be an E sharp diminished in one of the keys. That will show up as an F diminished in the chord box. So that one we need to correct. But everything else should be fine. All right. I will see you again next week.